Welcome to the Inspired by Team Tiny Inspiration Hub, where we're finding inspiration in each other. I found inspiration in Natasha Davies. You may know her as Handmade by Tasha D, here on YouTube or Instagram. I was inspired by a card several cards she used, using basic stencils that she dry embossed with, and then added some ink to enhance the embossing. I have some smooth cardstock here that I will use to emboss, some heavyweight cardstock that is black, and a heavyweight card base that both are 110 pounds. For our inks, I'm going to use some distressed oxide. I'm going to use scattered straw and worn lipstick, twisted citron, and bundle sage. I have a sentiment, which is thanks, which I've die cut out of shimmering gold cardstock, and from Doodles Paper Playground, Champagne Bubbles Sparkle Blend for my accent. We'll be adhering everything with our Barely Arts glue, and we'll be using some blender brushes. I'm going to clear everything off my desk so we can get started. I start by taping down, using some washi tape, my stencil to my card panel. Again, this is accent 80-pound opaque white card base, which is nice and ultra smooth. I use this for my Copic coloring and blending. It works beautifully. Right, so I'm trying to get this centered on there. Once I have it nice and centered, I know that my leaves are going to be cut off, but that's fine with me. I'm bringing in my sandwich that I use through my machine. I have the crossover edge 2, which is a large machine, and I have my platform. There's a rubber mat, which is my embossing mat, and then I'm going to put down the stencil with the card panel down towards the bottom. Then I'm using my metal shim because I don't want the lines from my cutting plate to come on there. If you don't have a metal shim, use a couple layers of copy paper just to keep it from getting all those little grooves on there. So now I'm going to peel back the stencil, and you can see the embossing. I'm going to try to catch it better in the light. I know it's kind of hard because it's white on white, basically embossing. There you go, you can see it. I'm going to now return the stencil back in place, and we're going to bring in our we're going to bring in our inks. We're going to start off with scattered straw, and I'm going to use that at the center of our flower. I'm going to use a blending brush here, and I just have some inexpensive makeup brushes. I got them off Amazon. Alright, so I'm just going to start in the center and just blend it out. I grab the ink, tap off any extra, and just blend. Trying to concentrate as close, deeper color towards the center, and then blend out. Next, we'll move on to worn lipstick. I do the same thing, gather my ink, tap off, start darker, and blend out so that the petals end up nice and soft towards the end. And I want the edges of the stencil to really pop, so I concentrate the color there so you can see the division in the petals. And I'm sorry I'm a bit off screen. On my camera, I thought I would, viewfinder, it looks like I'm completely on screen, but obviously I'm not. I guess I'm too zoomed in. So I'm going to go ahead and bring back the scattered straw just to blend those two colors out perfectly. Now we're going to move on to our leaves and stem. I start off with the twisted citron, and I'm going to start doing that as a base coat all on the stem and the leaves. And then I'll bring in bundle sage to add basically our shadowing to our leaves and stem. There's my bundled sage, and I'm using a microfiber cloth to clean in between my colors so that I don't contaminate them. Especially the greens. The other colors I had individual brushes. So now I'm going back to my twisted citron to blend it back out. I wanted to keep these colors nice and soft and springy. So now I'm going to remove our stencil, and there we have our card. It's a nice subtle effect. You can see it's been debossed in the back, and now here's the front. It's embossed, and now the emboss is now highlighted with all this beautiful color. So now I'm going to adhere this panel onto the black base card panel, but I want to trim a little bit of this off, about an eighth of an inch all the way around, because I just want a little bit of that black cardstock to show through. I think it makes it, it makes it look nicer, and it gives it a nice finished look. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this using my Barely Arts glue. Put some on there, and then we will adhere that to that card panel, and then this full card front we will add to our card base. Now this is embossed, so it takes a little bit of time, so you just gotta wiggle it on here and press it and give it a minute to adhere. And then I'm going to, like I said, adhere this panel onto our card base. And I use Recollections 110 pound white and 110 pound black for my card base and for those layering panels. Right, for our sentiment, like I said, I used, this is Aspire Metallics, Aspire Metallic Gold cardstock, and it's about 80 pounds, I believe. And I cut it, but when I put it on the card, it just looked like it was fading into it too much, and you kind of lost it. So I went ahead and I die cut the same sentiment out of black cardstock, just to create a little bit of a shadow. So I'm going to layer them together, just giving it slightly off so that you had a little bit of a shadow, and see how much better now it pops off. Plus it gives it a slight dimension being two thick layers of cardstock. So now I'm going to put some little dots of glue on the back of my sentiment and adhere it towards the bottom base of this flower. This is a really quick and easy card, to be honest. You can knock these out, I mean, you know, quite easily, and you go through all your stencils. You could be backgrounds and then you add other things, or it could be the entire card like it is right now. So now I'm bringing in the Doodles Paper Playground Champagne Bubbles Sparkle Blend, and these are all shades of gold, like champagne, and I'm just going to put a few of them throughout the card, just putting little dots of glue, and wherever I have those little dots is where I'll put the little sequins onto my card, and that'll be our finishing touch. I'm shopping there for which ones I want. I want to have a variety of sizes, and there's some holographic ones in here. That's the one I just put down towards the top left there. That one is holographic, and the one towards just above the K, it's so pretty, it's so cool. And then I have a little glitter, that glitter one above the S, and the other ones are small, little flat, or I should say matte colored, other champagne colored sequins. And Doodles Paper Playground has a variety of sparkle blends. I will link everything I use below so that you can easily find anything that you see here that I'm using. But I tell you, stop by Natasha's Handmade by Tasha D's channel, and I'll have her channel linked below. She's extremely talented, has a lot of tips and beautiful cards to share with you. She puts out amazing videos. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you found some inspiration.